Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk and the 5th day of my alphabet challenge. We're on to the letter E today, and the vote that won out was for the film Enter the Dragon, the classic martial arts film starring Bruce Lee. For those who don't know, I am doing this alphabet challenge in which I'm reviewing one film that begins with a letter of the alphabet for each day of the month of August, until I've covered all the letters, that is. Taking Sundays off. We're doing that to raise money for a cause that I strongly believe in. To find out more about that, please check the links down below. There's a link where you can go to the Facebook page about it, and another link where you can donate to help support it. So yeah, letter E, Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee. This is regarded as a classic film by a lot of people. It's got a 3.7, I think it is, on Letterboxd, which is a pretty high score, generally speaking, for a film on Letterboxd. It's very highly regarded, particularly in the martial arts kind of sphere of movie making, of movie fandom. So it had a lot riding on it. The thing is, I didn't think it was that great. There is greatness in this film, for sure. But the story follows this character, played by Bruce Lee. He's a Shaolin monk, and he's sent by his Shaolin temple to go and bring down this former member of the temple who set up basically awful business, law-breaking business, making drugs, this, that, and the other, prostitution, and he uses his skills as a Shaolin kind of fighter, whatnot, to set up this tournament, this fighting tournament, and basically, Bruce Lee is sent in to find out what it's all about, what's happening to these women that are disappearing, and basically bring this guy down any way that he can. It feels very much like a Bond film, to be honest, and it's quite ironic that just a year later, because this film's 1973, and then 1 year later we got Man with a Golden Gun, in which Bond goes to a martial arts kind of, there's a lot of martial arts stuff in there, which is clearly been influenced by Enter the Dragon. Clearly not as good either. Roger Moore was not a martial artist. This feels very much like it has a Bond flavour to it. Like Bruce Lee's character feels very much like a Bond kind of, like a Chinese Bond going off on a mission. And the villain has a very Dr. No kind of flavour about him, with his metal hands, his black-gloved metal hands, which, again, it's ripped right out of a Bond film. I was expecting, really, I think, just because of the stature of Bruce Lee, the reputation that he has, I was expecting martial arts sequences that were just going to blow my mind. And I feel like I've seen better. And I know, you have to excuse my ignorance, okay? I'm not a martial artist. There's probably things on screen that are happening that I'm just not observing because I'm not a martial artist. But I look at some of this stuff and I feel like I've seen better in a John Wick movie. I'm not saying Keanu Reeves is a better martial artist than Bruce Lee, but I just feel like, given the reputation, I should have been wowed a bit more. There's a lot of sequences that just feel really stagey, like when Bruce Lee's just kicking all these different people who come at him one by one. One guy comes, he does this spin kick. Another guy comes, he does another spin kick. Another guy comes, he does another spin, and it's just like, okay, it's great. You're really good at those spin kicks, but it's a bit boring, to be honest. A bit stagey. So, I don't know. I wanted more. I think I expected more from the action. There is some good beats. I'll say that much. I'm not being totally down on it. Clearly, Bruce Lee is a master martial artist. Was a master martial artist, and there are times in this where he moves so fast, you wonder if he's even done anything at all. So certainly in that respect, he shows a lot of skill. I'm just, like I say, there's a lot of other action movies, particularly martial arts movies, that I would rather watch again over this, considerably so. The acting on most fronts, quite frankly, is not that great either, even from the likes of John Saxon, who at times just, feels like he doesn't know what he's doing. One particular moment when he's just pointing at bags he's seen in the airport, and it's almost like the director didn't know what to do with him. He's like, well, we need you on camera for a bit so he can introduce you. Just point at some bags, pretend you're telling the guy about, and he's literally just going, and it's just the most stagey kind of wooden weird little insert that I've ever seen. But it's just, all I'm saying is, John Saxon, pretty great actor, Nightmare on Elm Street, Black Christmas, and here he's just like, whatever. And it's not helped by the fact that this film has terrible, terrible dubbing. So clearly this movie was shot on location at various places, and then afterwards they've gone into a studio and dubbed over. So, read on the lines, over the images. But the problem is, half the time, their voices don't sync up with what we're seeing on screen, and it's really off-putting. And I know this is a thing with a lot of martial arts movies, a lot of Asian cinema, certainly of this period, where they were dubbed and brought over to an American audience, a European audience. But it's just, I am one of those people where I find it off-putting. I would rather watch an Asian film in the Mandarin language, or the Japanese language, or the Korean language, whatever part of Asia we're from, with subtitles. But for whatever reason, that's the way they made it, and it puts me off. I think director Robert Clouse does a pretty decent job in certain aspects. Like, he makes some really iconic looking imagery. I think of the final battle between Lee's character and the main villain, and it takes place in this weird kind of mirrored room in which we see loads of them kind of stretching out, and it's really disorientating. You never know where somebody's going to pop out from. So I think that particular scene, and even that has its influence on the likes of John Wick. You think of John Wick Chapter 2, the end of that movie. It's just, so I understand why some people look back on this and see how iconic it is. There's certainly a lot of imagery in it that instantly takes you to a particular time and place and era. But I was a bit bored, to be honest. I didn't care about quite a lot of the characters that I felt I should care about. I wasn't particularly a fan of the score either. It was just there. It didn't really do anything for me, and it does have that kind of blaxploitation kind of vibe about it as well. It's just everything about 70s cinema that you kind of see Tarantino riffing on, but for some reason having the ability to make better, is right here. But when I see it in its purest form, I'm not that blown away, to be perfectly honest. Like, don't get me wrong, I think I'm being a lot more down on it than perhaps I need to be, because I did like it. I enjoyed much of it, parts of it. I thought it was quite well written, I would say, to some degree, with regards to the plotting. I think there is definitely a good movie in there somewhere. Lalo Schifrin does the score for this. Now, I really liked his score, what he did for the Amityville Horror. So clearly this guy's a skilled composer, but I wasn't really a fan of the music in this film. And again, I think maybe it's just the era, the style of movie. Never been that big on the whole blaxploitation, early 70s kind of grindhouse type cinema, and I feel like that's very much what this feels like. The music in those kind of movies has never really grabbed me all that much, and the same can be said for Schifrin's score here. So no offence to him as a composer, because he's done great work, I know he has, but this wasn't really doing it for me. Now, the film it's not all bad, don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a bad movie by any stretch. I would actually say it's a good movie in the sense that, you know, there's many enjoyable parts to it. There are a few kind of sparks between some of the actors, some of the characters. Bruce Lee is fairly charismatic, not quite as charismatic as I would have hoped given his reputation. But yeah, it's just, that's just it. It's the reputation. Given the reputation of this film that's considered so groundbreaking, I'm just like, yeah, all right. It was entertaining. I give it a 3 out of 5. But I'm probably not going to rush back to it anytime soon. So I don't really know what else to say other than that. Now, I know many people are going to be thinking, I'm off on one, smoking crack. That's fine. We all have our opinions. If you have an opinion such as that, then please do leave it down below. But also don't forget to have a look at those links to have a look at the cause that I'm trying to raise money for. If you can't donate to it, please do share this video. Click the like button, because every little helps, just to get the message out there and hopefully help some people. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, cracking.